Thank you all so very much for joining us for the 5th annual Youth Career and College Excellence Summit. I am Dr. Christy Murray, and I will be your illustrious host for today and tomorrow's event. So, we actually have our Real Talk youth, adult, and college experience panelists who are joining us. So, let's welcome them to the stage as I pin them, and we will get started with our next panel. So, just stand by. I'm going to first introduce Miss Jessica. And Miss Jessica, if you could briefly just introduce yourself, tell us what school you're going to, what you're majoring in, as I pin our other panelists.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me fine?
Yes.
I think so. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Coker. I'm a senior elementary education major at Bowie State University. I went to an early college program for high school, which allowed me to pursue my associate's degree at the same time. And I came to Bowie State as a true freshman, not knowing next to nothing about life on campus and how to make a place for myself. Since the fall of last year, I've been able to join many organizations such as BSEA, which is the Bowie State Education Association, the Honors College for the school, the campus chapter for Kappa Delta Pi, which is an honor society for education majors, and I got my first job as a history tutor on campus. I also had the privilege of traveling to California this past spring with my team for the Honda Campus All-Star Challenge, which is a tournament for HBCU students to showcase their academic prowess in multiple rounds of challenging trivia. I am very excited to be speaking with you all today, and I hope that I and the other panelists can answer some of your burning questions about college.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Jessica. I'm super excited for this panel. So thank you. Let's see. Thank you, Zanice. All right. So next we'll go to Mr. Jamarian. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Jamarion Willie. I'm a sophomore at Troy University. I now double major in electrical and electronics engineering. Um, I do quite a bit on campus. I hold 6 executive positions. I'm a Trojan ambassador. See, I have my badge. I just got done giving a tour. I'm a senator in SGA. But overall, I'm excited to give you guys some sauce and some advice.
Wonderful. And I love how y'all are sharing activities that you're in while you're in college. All right, next, Miss Jada Holloway. Welcome and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jada Holloway. I'm a upcoming junior. I'm going to Norfolk State University. I'm not sure if you see my shirt or not. Um, I am not as involved in school as they are, but I was a freshman and sophomore who was balancing school and work. I did also do an internship in DC at the Department of Transportation under the Federal Railroad Administration. Um, Unfortunately, that internship has been taken away due to Trump's administration, but that was just something from my background.
Thank you very much. And then last but not least, Miss Talia. Welcome.
Hi. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Talia Taylor. I'm 19 years old and currently a sophomore at Northern Virginia Community College. I've always been interested in the medical field. I'm majoring in health sciences, and I've always been interested in the medical field. So choosing this major felt like the right path for me as I work toward a career where I can help people. And being in college has definitely changed a lot of my experiences. It's taught me taking more responsibilities, becoming independent, and holding myself accountable. Even though I've been only in college for a year, I feel like I've already learned so much, and not just academically, but also about who I am and how to manage different challenges. I'm happy to be here today to share a little about my journey and hopefully encourage others as they navigate their own college experiences.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask just one or two questions because I want to leave this panel in particular for our youth to really have an opportunity to ask what burning questions that they have. And I'm just going to start out with more of a college life and transition kind of question. And I'll just take a couple of you to answer it. So if this is a burning question that you really love to answer, feel free. But what was the biggest shock or adjustment that you had when you first started college?
I think I can go first with that. I believe that the biggest shock to me was, I guess, the lack of sociability with some students. I remember my roommate, we didn't really get to be friends, I guess. I guess we were more in like different social groups. And while that's okay, I think when you're going into a new experience, I feel like it's very important to put yourself forward the best way that you can and just try and be social and amicable with everyone. So that was a surprise to me.
Hmm, very interesting. Thank you. Jada, were you going to add to that one too?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the amount of freedom that you have. Everybody takes it for granted. I took it for granted for sure my freshman year. I wasn't as involved as I would like to be, but I would say use your freedom to create a schedule for yourself. Give yourself something to do outside of just classes. And don't always go out and try to party. Make sure you have something that's keeping you occupied, that's in your field, in your major. Make sure that you're showing face and people in your major, making connection with those people as well.
Very good information, and definitely can't party all the time. So it sounds like some balance is in order. Um, what's a typical day look like as a college student? And it probably looks different if you're working or in activities, but Jamarian, what's a typical day for you?
So mine is definitely not the usual college student. With me being involved a lot, I normally have my classes in the mornings, have like my meetings, and sometimes I may give a tour, like a daily tour, in the afternoon. And kind of where I have a business, I have a clothing brand, so kind of working my clothing brand like in between those times. And at night, I'm probably at the library studying or at an event that I probably hosted.
Awesome. So you mean to tell me you can do more than one thing and more than one thing well at a time? College student entrepreneur. I love that for you.
Absolutely.
That's great to hear. Miss Talia, what about you? What does a typical day look like?
Yeah, so my typical day is I like classes early in the morning. I don't like them like, midday or later. I like them at 9:30. So I'll do my morning classes, and then usually I'll have, it depends. So I'll have one class, a day, or two classes a day. And then, I'll come home, I'll eat, and then do my assignments. It's really good to do your assignments. When you get home, I know it's like, oh, I got to go back, get home and do your assignments, but it really is so much better to do them at home, get them done over with. And then I'll sign into my online class if I have one. It depends. So this semester I'm taking an online class, and I gotta, it's at 6:00 p.m. So I gotta come home, do my work, and then eat, do my thing, and then get on the online class.
Okay, so there's the in-person classes and then there's online classes, and you have to have different strategies for both that you blend into your day. That's very
Yeah.
key. What
Yeah.
about you, Miss Jessica? What's a typical day look like?
So a typical day for me, I know as I am, I do not get up with my alarm. So I make sure that I put my alarm early and then I make my classes a good 3 hours after that. So my classes are like start mid-afternoon. If I work during that week, I would work on a day where I don't have classes, but I would still be able to do both within the week, if that makes sense, so that I don't overload myself with having to run from one part of campus to the other. I like to try and pace myself like that. So I would always try and also make sure you have time to eat at least twice a day because you need food, you need energy for to do everything that you need to do. So I make sure that I have enough time to get ready. I make sure that I have enough time in between classes to say if you need to stay back with the teacher or if you need to go and do something, or if you just need to eat or take a minute, you have time in between classes to do that. And then after classes, you usually end around 4 for me. I might go work again, or I might go to the library and try to study, or I might hang with friends and do homework with them.
Okay, a little bit of social and, getting your work done at the same time. I love that for you, but certainly getting your work done. How about you, Miss Jada? Typical day.
It's definitely a balance. The main important factor is how you set up your schedule. So for me, I only have in-person classes 2 days a week this semester, and so I have 3 online classes. So I'm also trying to start up my business as well as Jamarion, so I'm trying to balance that as well. But I do plan on having 2 days focusing on my in-person classes, making sure those days I get the homework out the way, and then I have 2 days that I'm focusing on my online classes altogether so I can get that homework out of the way, and then one day where I focus on my business. That way I can make sure I have everything prepped on that, because I like to bake on the side. I'm not sure if I said that out loud, but my major is business with a focus in financial services. So I just want to take whatever I'm learning in school and applying it to my business. And then one day to rest, because as a college student, you are going to need that one day to rest and catch yourself up.
That's very key. And I heard some themes across all of your typical days. Time management. You know a lot about yourself, whether you're a morning person or you're not. Be honest with yourself about the best time to take classes, get things done. Make time for friends, but make time for handling your business and business in terms of entrepreneurship in some cases. But there's a lot of key things and taking care of yourself. So wellness, it sounds like it's important. You got to make sure you eat and those sort of things. So great. So as we segment, so I want y'all to think about what questions y'all want to ask the panel. Our 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth panelist is traveling and wasn't able to join, but he recorded a brief video to share his college athlete experience. So I want to play that, and then we're going to open it up for our guests to ask the panel questions. So stand by.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cameron Lewis, and I'm a student athlete at Norfolk State University. I play safety, and my major is computer science, and I'm currently going into my senior year right now. So computer science is my major, and I chose that major because I like and I'm okay with doing a lot of math. There's a lot of math in this major. Also, I get to learn more about the history and background of computers. As we know, technology just keeps on expanding, so I felt like that was a perfect major for me, just to expand my knowledge and learn how to, create software and code. That's a big reason why I chose this major. So being a student athlete in college is very important to, handle your time, because your time is going to be tied up with practice, lifts, and meetings, and then school. So I would say your first year, you should be focused on school the most, and you may have to miss some events, some parties. But if you take school really serious that first year, you'll be ahead of a lot of people. So your first year, a student athlete will have to take study hall. For me, it was 8 hours a week, and we traveled on Fridays. So my hours had to be completed. If I wanted to travel, I wanted to play. Like I said, if you want to play, to play, you have to be eligible. So if I wanted to travel, I would have had to have my 8 hours before Friday at like noon. So I would do 2 hours every day. So I would do 2 hours Monday, Tuesday, etc. I would advise you to do your homework in study hall so you can, have a little bit of free time and enjoy yourself. College is meant to be fun. So as a student athlete, it's very easy for it not to be fun. Or people do a study hall as a punishment or as something to hold you back. No, study hall is to push you forward. Study hall is literally to push you forward. If you do good in study hall your first semester, you might not have to take study hall no more. But it's mandatory as a freshman your first semester. So just get that in mind. that you will have to be study hall. It's basically another class if you really think about it. Here's one advice that I would give y'all that I wish somebody gave me about college, and that's to expect unexpected expenses. So what I mean by that is, you're a freshman. If you're going in your freshman year, you most likely won't have your car. But when you do start driving, college tickets will really run you up. So just keep in mind, know where to park, get a parking pass. That's an expense. Another expense is going to be textbooks. If you're not on scholarship, you're going to have to pay for those. And you may think everything's online. I don't need a textbook. Most of the time, teachers will give you an online textbook, and then they'll give you work in that textbook. So if you don't have the textbook and then they give that assignment out and they do that next week, now you're scrambling. Just take care of, you know what I'm saying? That can be an unexpected expense, but you can take care of that, on the front end.
Awesome. All right. So while he couldn't be here, I appreciate the initiative to share those insights. And for those who might not know, that young man is my youngest son, the one I talked about earlier, who was at college on scholarship. And I think it's important for those who are interested in playing collegiate sports, or if you're juggling more than one thing in college, whether it's sports or something else, some of those strategies still work. You got to make time for all the things. And so certainly have those experiences. Now I want to open it up to our esteemed guests. Any of our high schoolers or college students, anyone want to ask our panel any questions? Any burning questions? Yes, Miss Joy, let's start with you and then we'll go to Corinne.
So I have a question for, I think Jamira. So, I remember you said you were in student government at your college. So, is it possible that you were in student government at your high school? And if so, is there like any difference between like student government in high school compared to college?
Okay, and I'm really glad you asked this question because someone literally just asked me this morning because I have a friend that's going to Clark Atlanta. She's a freshman, and she just asked me about that. So, I was involved in the SGA in high school, not as much as I'm involved now, but it is a complete difference just because you have way more power, in the collegiate level than in high school. And that's because you sign bills. For example, at Troy, we signed a bill in January of 2020 to build our recreational center. So that's how much power you have as a group of, well, we have 30 students that all kind of share like the same like-minded like goals to like better the campus overall. So I would say that although although high school is a great experience, it is a little more strict and more on like the strict business side on the college level. I think it is for everyone to try.
It's a great question. Thank you. And response. Corinne, what question do you have?
Hi, this isn't directed to anyone, just to everyone really on the panel. So for on like DE classes and like AP class in high school, if any of you guys took those classes, how well do you think that those classes prepared you for college? It's like a similar workbook.
I know she's breaking up on us, but I think her question was about AP classes, if you took any in high school, and how well did they prepare you for college if you took any? Anybody take AP classes? No?
I took AP classes, but it was
AP or DE?
I took both. So it was a bit different for me because I graduated early and it was a whole situation. But I would say since I was in both in the same year, I don't think that it's completely different. I think that it does prepare you in a way because AP classes and DE classes make you have a deeper understanding of the course, whereas regular high school classes are just giving you the basis of knowledge that you need to know. The DE classes and the AP classes are making sure that you understand it and you can apply it to your life. So yes, I think it prepares you for high school classes only because I meant college classes only because college asks you to go more in depth than high school does.
Excellent. Thank you. And graduating early. Go ahead, Corinne. Okay. You got your response, your answer. I was going to say, in graduating early, and Ms. Jada, how has your college, when you transitioned from high school to college early, it sounds like, how was that transition for you, already going to college, but then going to college earlier than anticipated?
So when I was a freshman in college, I was actually freshly 17. And it was a bit different because you're the youngest in the group, people underestimate who you are as a person. But I wasn't outside, not only because I couldn't go outside really, like, and hang out, but because I couldn't really connect with people because I was a bit younger than them. But it took me a while to realize that age does not really matter um, when it comes to that. Especially if you're a freshman in college, you guys are all experiencing college together for the first time. So that's how I was able to find friends that way. I wasn't looking at it as you guys are older than me and I'm just the baby. It was, we're all here trying to get our degree. How are we going to better each other? And I was just looking for people who had the same mindset as me.
Great points. Great points. Thank you. Ms. Morgan, do you have a question?
So you guys were all talking about how like at some point you took in-person and online classes. So I was wondering like the pros and cons about online and in-person classes, or like how did you feel, or like the difference between them. And then also for Jamarian, I know that you took an online class this summer. So like would you recommend that, and how did you feel about that? Because like I kind of feel like you didn't have like any break between school. So.
Let's start with you, Jamarian.
So yeah, I did take a summer class over the summer. Um, I took it back at home. I didn't take it at a university. One, because it's cheaper. I took it at a community college. So I would recommend that take your classes over the summer at a community college. I would say take those basic classes because one, they're easier. Well, not easier, but they're simpler, but they do give you more busy work for online classes because you're not one-on-one. But I would say the big difference between in person for me and online is for example, Troy is a 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So there's like a one-on-one difference. And I like to be one-on-one personal with my teachers. And I didn't get that with being online because everything was strictly like video lectures and proctored exams. So I really didn't get that kind of learning experience I did, but I do recommend taking your classes over the summer at a community college if you can.
Great advice. Great advice. And I'm going to pivot to Ms. Talia, if you could answer the question, but also piggybacking off of Jamarian and talking about your community college experience too.
Yeah, so I did. So I did in person all my first semester of college, and then second semester I did all in person. And I think in person, I like in person better because I get that one-on-one. I can see it; it's there. But online it's good too, but it can feel a little more like cramped, and because you're not really seeing your professor, it's just more of like online. But I would say I took actually psychology. I just finished it like a couple days ago, and it was fine. I mean, yeah, it was fine, and I mean it was a lot, but I did it. I took my time with it. Check the calendar, the little on the dashboard. If you guys go into college, you'll see it. It's like a little dashboard. You see your calendar. Make sure you look at that because it's really important. But it was fine for me for college when I took the summer class. And But I do feel like in person is different than online. It just kind of depends on what you kind of want to do. But I would say get the basic classes out the way, like Jamarion said, and just, deal with those first.
And I'll tell you what, before COVID, there were a lot fewer institutions that had online capabilities. And now it's like a commonplace in our educational approaches. But imagine being in college and wanting to graduate, and the course that keeps you from getting into other courses the next semester is the difference between you taking an online course or waiting a whole nother year. So there's value in having different approaches. So thank y'all for that. Miss Lanice, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. So I I have two. But this first one is from Miss Holloway because I heard her mention working. So I just wanted to know like how would you arrange your schedule to have a healthy school work balance? So that's the first one. Yeah.
So for me, I worked on base at the commissary, the naval commissary. I was a cashier. I worked part time, which was originally 32 hours per week. Um, say I would say balancing 15 uh, credit hours with 30 hours per week was not easy. I did have to get my hours reduced to 24 hours a week just to make sure I was able to study and make sure that my academics were where I needed them to be, because at the end of the day, I was paying to go to school. Like, school is my number one priority. I did want to have money on the side, but school is my number one priority. And it was all about having a job that understood that. Um, they were very, I would say, they were eager to work with me because they didn't have anybody there to help them. So they didn't really have a choice in whether I had to balance school and work or not. But as long as you find that balance, you have to make sure that you don't let them overwork you. I didn't give them my full availability. So even if I had an extra day off, I didn't tell them that because I needed that day to do my homework and study. So just make sure you have that balance if you're trying to do school and work at the same time.
Great points. Don't give your full availability and don't give all your time to other folks.
Yeah.
Jamarian, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I wanted to add to that, but on the work study side. So, I work study in the admissions office. So I deal with all applications from incoming freshmen and stuff. And any work study on campus typically works around your class schedule. So that's the good part I like about work study is they're very flexible. They know when you have meetings and stuff. As long as you can communicate that, they'll work really close with you.
Now, that's a great point to share how work study works. It's around your studies, but you said something very pivotal. You have to communicate what that is. I'm hearing that from you and Jada, that you have to let people know what you need, what you can do, what you can't do, and even pivot. Like she said, she had to get her hours reduced. So the moment you feel like I'm slipping, I'm losing control, I'm getting overwhelmed, pivot, talk to people, pivot so that you can get things back on track that, makes you feel more comfortable about your next moves. Excellent. Thank you. Lenise,
And
do you have another question?
yes. Last one. How do you know where to find the right resources and the right work material?
As it pertains to college or
Yeah.
resources and materials in terms of getting what they need for academic purposes, or can you expand on that a little bit?
Oh, sure thing. So yes, when it comes to the academic side of college, so you know exactly where to go when you need to find these specific work materials, where you need to get your research and stuff like that, who you need to ask. So those things.
Well, it really depends on like your college itself. My school specifically has a success center They help direct you wherever you need to go. They also have different workshops, different groups. Specifically, they have writing groups, they have study groups, mentors, tutors. It all depends on your school specifically. But I will say that majority of schools have those resources for you. You just have to find them on your campus.
Anyone else have a great resource?
In my in my experience, it would be the exact same. I actually work at my campus's Student Success Center as a tutor. So they have a bunch of different resources. Most of the things that you asked about, like resources for when you do research, those would be located in the library or like on the library section of the school website, where you could get like a ton of different databases for research and other such things. If you're asking about like for textbooks and like things for class, those would usually be found in like your school store, which are also on campus, but those usually also have a website as well. Usually, if you go on the school website, you can find it, or sometimes they just email you themselves because they have your email. And when you apply for a class, usually in the class Blackboard or Canvas or whatever they use for the to disperse information, they'll have the class materials in the class forum.
Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. London, you have a question?
I wanted to ask, what's the major differences between high school classes and college classes?
Talia, you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, so they're different. I mean, they're okay. So they're different. High school is more. I would say it's you have your classes like you're almost like a schedule. So you're like 8 o'clock you have history, 9 o'clock you have math, 10 o'clock. So it's all kind of in the same day. But I would say college. I like it because you can pick your times, you can pick your days. And I feel like college is more heavier when it comes to like work. So you just have to stay on top of it and, focus on your work. But I would say that, the classes, if you're in person, they are definitely, I mean, they're the same. Like they feel the same. Like when I went my first semester at Nova, like I'm like, dang, this feels like high school again. But the professors are, different teachers, professors are different. And then the work is different.
Yes,
I
Jay.
would also like to say that, like, in high school, you were also given that opportunity to do that work in your classroom. And in college, it's more of the teacher wants to make sure you understand the information. And it also depends on the type of class you have. If you have a lecture, which is 90 people in the class, or if it's like a 12-person class, it really depends on their teaching style. So you won't be able to get that one-on-one time with your teacher the same way you would in high school.
And what happens in college when you're struggling, you don't get that one-on-one time that I've heard mentioned? How might you go about getting and seeking out the help you need from your professors in college that might be different from high school?
So they have work study hours. And I know Jamarion can speak on that because he knows how that works. But they have work study hours that teachers have certain hours during the day that you can come to their office and like speak to them, or you can request through email. You just really have to be transparent with your professor. They're human too. As long as you have a conversation with them, they're likely to understand. But if you don't have that conversation, you'll never know.
And I'll add to that and say, your teachers, that could be the difference what Jada just talked about between you getting a C and getting out of that class or you having to retake that class again. And I remember when I was in college, and some professors still work this way, they never see you during office hours. You never came to say you needed help. And then at the end of the semester, if your grade is on that borderline, they will not help you to push it over. because you haven't built a relationship, you haven't shared that you need help. And so I think it's really important early on, the first signs of, I don't understand how the quadratic equations work or whatever it is, or I was sick last week and I missed a session. Can you walk me through? Or can I get an extension on my time? Those kind of things matter, but they're not going to know, to Jada's point, unless you have that conversation. Anybody else have any insights in terms of how to engage with your professors to get help or get what you need?
I would say, like, if you have time after class or like in between classes, you could stay after and just ask if they could clarify. If the professor doesn't have a class immediately after, you could get some help with the specific thing while it's still fresh. Like Jada said, most all professors should offer office hours where you can go in and ask questions, and they'll be ready and available to help you. Um, Again, usually most classes on campus have a study group or like a tutor or a tutoring or a tutoring type of situation available as well. So I feel like those are some ways. And you could also study in groups with people that are in your classroom. Use people available to you as well.
Yes, I think that's a really good one, Jessica. The last one, you're already in class. Now, I don't know y'all. If you're sitting in class, don't just pay attention to who's cute. Pay attention to who's smart. You can deal with who's cute outside of the classroom environment, but who's smart, that's who you want to take Jessica's advice and get into study groups with. But don't just get in. I was one of the smart people at times, and then there were other times I was not and I needed help. But don't just get in a study group with smart people and drain them and have nothing to bring to the group. So you've got to show up and add value too, but also show up and get help, and y'all help each other. So that's my little 2 cents worth. Any club kids? Anybody been in the Boys and Girls Club environment or other youth organizations on the panel? How has if so, how has those experiences helped shape your trajectory to where you are now?
I can go.
Okay, Briani, go ahead.
Um, I go to I go to the Boys and Girls Club, Alloy, and once again, it opened me to Youth of the Year, so that was honestly a great experience, and I'm doing it again my sophomore year this year, cause it definitely opened me up to the right people, and it opened me up to opportunities such as this one, and it's definitely been a journey. At the Boys and Girls Club, I've been going there for, I'm gonna say, 8 years now. So it's definitely something, all right.
All right, club kids in the house. Jamarian, I know you were a club kid as well. Want to talk about your experience a little?
Yes.
Inspire others?
Yes. So I've been a club kid for 14 years. So family grew up it's been like a legacy thing. So, I ran for Youth of the Year and I won Youth of the Year back in 2021. And I competed in the state level as well. And due to me competing in the state level, I was able to build those connections throughout the entire state of the Boys and Girls Club. So when I did go to Troy, I attended the Boys and Girls Club of Central Alabama. And luckily, I already knew the directors from me winning Youth of the Year. So it was kind of like that close connection. And now I tutor there. I get my community service hours there. So it's kind of like building those connections is really important because you never know what opportunities can come your way by the people you meet.
That's absolutely correct. And one of our youth earlier, Jamarian, I don't know if you guys had joined, but she had asked about maybe it was Lanice, I can't remember, different ways to volunteer. And that's great. So even when he went to college, he found local organizations he could affiliate with and still volunteer. So you can include volunteerism as a part of what you do, even if you're not close to home, or even if you are close to home. You can, show up differently in even existing spaces that, or organizations you have. And instead of you being on the student side receiving the services, now you get to volunteer and help out. So that's great to hear. All right. Any last final questions before we wrap up with our phenomenal youth adult panel? All right. Well, thank you all so very, very much. Let's see. Are there any questions? Okay, Sanai, you've been a club kid for 12 years. That's awesome. So if you're on here from the Boys and Girls Club, wherever you are from the Boys and Girls Club, I want you to join my Center of Transformation program, which kicks off in January and more is to come. This is actually one of our key signature events from our Center of Transformation. But Brianni, I'd love to see you at Alloy, for example, and Sanai back in Center of Transformation or NCOT coming up in the spring. But thank you so very much. Jamario, yes.
Okay, so I remember Lanice asked the question about kind of transferring her transcript overseas to a university. And I can speak specifically about Troy. It's a very easy process. We have one of the biggest international programs, not to brag or anything, but we have one of the biggest international programs at our university. Um, we have over 60 different countries from different students that come to Troy. So I deal with that a lot with me working in admissions, and it's very easy. You just have to submit your like your transcript from your high school, even doesn't matter how long ago it was. We'll just need an official transcript and the translation if it's in a different language. And you have to request, I think it's like a WES or a ECE, something like that, like an informational quiz or something like that. And you'll send that directly through Troy electronically, and we'll deal with that from there. But that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's awesome. We help each other. Yes, Lanice.
Thank you so much for pointing that out. And also, so I did my GED because I wasn't sure if it is I could have transferred those across. So it could just replace my transcript with having a GED. Would that be beneficial to my application or just sticking with the transcript?
I would say sending both. It'll give you a bonus by sending that GED, but they still will require you to send that transcript.
That's great advice. Send both. When in doubt, send both. And or reach out to the university and ask them for more guidance in addition to what Jamarion shared. That's really great advice. Well, on behalf of all of us on the Youth and Career College Excellence Summit, let's give them a big, let me find my applause hand. Hold on, y'all. Let me get my applause hand. There you go. Let me give y'all a big old, I raised my hand too. Big old applause and thank y'all so much. Very, very insightful and everyone could benefit. We benefited greatly from you sharing your real talk and your experiences in college. We wish all of you the best of luck as you continue your educational pursuits and more entrepreneurship and more. And if any of you on my panel need a letter of recommendation, please reach out to me. So thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We're going to make this recording clip available and we're going to share it with other youth who can benefit from the great things you share. So thank y'all.